Assalamualaikum and hello. My name is NURLISA FITRI and my parent's name is HANIM. Today, we will be presenting in regards of the outline of our academic research paper titled Problems of Interlingual Errors in English Language Among Tertiary Level Students in Malaysia. So our introduction is interlingual and intralingual errors are the most common types of mistakes made by L2 learners. Interlingual mistakes are generated by L1 interference, but intralingual errors are caused by the difficulties of learning the language. L1 interference occurs when a speaker employs language forms and structures from their first language in the language they are learning. So our thesis statement is interlingual errors occurs among tertiary level learners due to the interference of their native language through transfers and lack of understanding the English language. The first problem faced by learners is they rely on their native language to translate their thoughts into English sentences. When learners do not know how to express themselves in English language, they instinctively rely on their mother tongue to do so. Learners are inclined to organize information in the target language using their knowledge of their mother tongue. A Malay word can have multiple meanings depending on its context and intended intent. It occurs because two words have the same sound but are interpreted differently. The second problem is grammatical incompetence leads to mistakes in the usage of verb rules, verb tenses, and plurality. Ignorance of rule restrictions is one form of mistake committed by learners. Students may have had the necessary information but made mistakes owing to a lack of comprehension. Learners are oblivious of their faults due to a lack of knowledge on the process of the language they are studying. Grammar rules sometimes include exceptions which may confuse learners and lead to mistakes such as omission or overgeneralization. As a result of the vast differences between the rules of Malay and English, learners may get confused and reckless. Learners struggle to decide and identify the usage of the verb to have in a specific situation. In other circumstances, learners even overcorrected themselves by repeating the verbs to have. Next, the unavailability of the be verb in the Malay language made learners see this verb as irrelevant, and as a result, they often omit this verb from the sentence. In the Malay language, there are no be verbs in the past tense that must be added to each word to indicate that something occurred in the past. Verb tenses accounted for the second highest frequency in the study. Learners failed to change the verbs into past tense form. Due to the absence of tenses in the Malay language, learners were unable to distinguish between the present and past tenses. Learners were also found to apply correct verb forms. However, they applied the wrong subject plurality or singularity. Learners made mistakes in adding suffixes to show plurality. That is all from me. Now, I will pass the presentation to my group partner, HANIM. Thank you.
The next point is the differences of L1 structure and L2 structure confuses learners. Subject-verb agreement errors are the most frequent errors that learners make. Due to the fact that the Malay language verb tenses and number do not undergo any word derivational, there are no subject-verb agreement required. English is a more subject-predominant, while Malay language are more topic-predominant. The English language contains clauses and dominated by it. However, L1 languages, although contain clauses of their own, are not as complex as English. Learners incur mistakes due to the fact of the enormous contrast between English and L1 sentences. What are the errors made? Learners are found unable to use the correct subject-verb agreement. They are unclear of what verb to use and unable to make subject and verb agree. They pair the singular subject with plural verbs wrongly. They also do not consistently apply tenses while constructing sentences. The next point would be inadequate vocabulary limits learners' capability to express themselves. Inadequate vocabulary affects learners' writing ability, which leads to poor written literacy. Due to the inaccuracy of the language employed in the written assignment, little of the intended meaning gets delivered. Some English words possess identical spelling but distinct meaning and are often confused by learners. To simplify, learners' inadequate English vocabulary makes it difficult for them to deliver the intended messages. Because thinking and sentence patterns in English and L1 are diverse from each other, it is possible and unavoidable for learners to use more words to describe the same concept than the phrase required. This is referred to as redundancy, and the major reason why learners make such blunders is because they are not properly conversant with English vocabularies. Learners are also found to make spelling errors. Here are a few suggestions. Based on the research paper found, we gathered a few ways on reducing the impact of L1 in English language studies. Lecturers should adapt their teaching methods depending on the demands of the pupil or their writing blunders. Not every student do the same kind of mistakes, and understanding what kind of a flaw they are making can reduce time and effort needed to fix their prone errors. Lecturers should concentrate more on error-prone topics in classroom. Learning English in a more natural context may also lessen the errors. Another suggestion is to increase student participation in writing integrated technology into writing classroom, such as providing mobile-assisted grammar exercises that students may utilize to improve their ELS learning. As the world progresses, so does technology. Hence, why not make use of the various types of materials to make the English language more interesting and easier to reach? That's all from us today. Thank you.